Once upon a time, in a kingdom known by all as Adeland, there resided a very wealthy and influential family, well known as the Tundes. The Tundes were so wealthy and owned more land than the kingdom itself. It was rumored that their ancestors were very fortunate to discover gold on their land, which they sold to the Westerners. They were so rich that they were given more respect than the king of Adeland. The Tundes lived in a very big mansion built in Adeland. The mansion contained so many rooms that it could accommodate the whole community. It was bigger and more beautiful than the palace itself. The Tundes and their different families lived in the mansion. They had many maids and servants to attend to their needs, and they lived in peace and harmony. In the mansion were 10 families who were all under the leadership of the eldest and richest son called Ola. However, Ola was uneducated, so he married a very beautiful woman called Naomi. Unlike the other women in the family, Naomi was very intelligent, so Ola trusted her with the affairs and finances of the mansion. But Naomi was equally arrogant and pompous because she knew she was more intelligent than the other women in the family. She treated them harshly, so they feared her. They had to beg her for everything because she was the wife of the eldest son, and their husbands were the younger brothers of her husband. Naomi had maids and servants for everything she wanted, so she lived like a queen. She was impatient and cruel to anyone who even dared to disrespect her. Everyone in the mansion was aware of her superiority, and her dominance extended to the people of Adeland. She never really left the mansion, but whenever she entered the kingdom, everyone feared and trembled at her presence as if she was the queen of the village. Even the king of Adeland Kingdom respected her personality. Naomi had everything she wanted except for one thing, a child of her own. She was barren and had no child. She had tried with her husband Ola for many years, but she couldn't get pregnant. They had both visited all the physicians and all the best doctors in Adeland Kingdom, and even the neighboring kingdoms, but none of them could provide a solution to her barrenness. This was one of the reasons Naomi was bitter towards the other women in the house. She was jealous and envious of them because they had beautiful kids while she had none. On a fateful day, one of Naomi's maids was sick, but she was scared to inform Naomi. When she was bringing food for Naomi, she tripped over and fell because she wasn't too strong. But out of anger, Naomi slapped the maid and banished her out of the house. Then she asked her henchman to get another maid from the village. After some hours, the henchman brought a young, beautiful girl to Naomi as her new maid. Her name was Bella. Bella was only 18 years old. She was an orphan who was abandoned at the orphanage when she was a baby. There were no records of her parents, so she grew up in the orphanage. When she was 17 years old, a family came to adopt her. They seemed so nice, so Bella accepted to go with them. However, a few months after Bella started living with them, the woman got pregnant and eventually gave birth to her own child. After she gave birth to her own child, she started maltreating Bella. When Bella couldn't bear it anymore, she ran away from the family, but she couldn't go back to the orphanage. So every day she would buy cheap vegetables from farmers and sell it at a higher price in the market. But she had no home and was living in an abandoned cabin in the forest. When Naomi's henchman came to the market square looking for a maid and promising a very good pay, Bella volunteered to fill in the position, but she had no idea that she would be the maid to no other but Naomi, the most feared woman in all of Adeland Kingdom. Unlike the other maids Naomi had, Bella was different. When the other maids were in the company of each other, laughing, gisting, Bella would be seated all by herself, and this made Naomi dislike her. Naomi felt Bella was being proud and arrogant. She didn't know that Bella had a very difficult and isolated childhood. At every slight mistake, Naomi would pounce on Bella and give her a slap or a beating. Bella wanted to leave, but compared to the cabin where she lived and was selling vegetables under the hot sun every day, Enduring Naomi's brutality seemed to be a better option. One day, Naomi wanted to have a warm bath, so she instructed Bella to fetch some hot water for her. Bella fetched a kettle of hot water as instructed, but while she was pouring the water into the bathtub, Naomi dipped her hand into the water and flared up in anger. She screamed at Bella that the water was too hot, and out of anger, she collected the kettle of hot water and poured it all over Bella's body. Bella started screaming in pain and quickly removed her gown. As Naomi watched her wail, she saw a birthmark on Bella's back. The other maids came to rescue Bella and rushed her to the hospital, but Naomi stood frozen at the spot. The birthmark she saw on Bella's back took her far back into her bitter past and a secret which she has hidden for many, many years. But here's the twist: Naomi wasn't born barren. When she was a teenager, she was sent to live with her aunt. But Naomi was so beautiful that her aunt's husband started making advances at her. Naomi was only a teenager, so she was confused. She reported the husband to her aunt, but her aunt slapped her for falsely accusing her husband. The following night, her husband sneaked into Naomi's room and made love to her. It resulted in pregnancy, and so her aunt chased her out of the house. Naomi suffered and toiled for days on ending until she eventually gave birth to a beautiful baby girl, with complications, of course, which affected her womb. However, she was too young to nurture a child of her own, so she took the baby to the orphanage and dumped her at the entrance. But before she kept the baby, she used a sharp object to give the child a rare birthmark on the back. It was this birthmark that she saw on Bella's back. Naomi couldn't stop thinking about the birthmark she saw. She started having sleepless nights and was very disturbed. So she decided to do a background check on Bella by going back to the orphanage to make inquiries. At the end of it all, she discovered that Bella was indeed her daughter. Naomi hated herself for treating Bella so badly, not knowing Bella was her own daughter, despite how desperately she wanted a child of her own. When Bella recovered from the injury Naomi inflicted on her, there was a very big permanent scar on her face caused by the hot water. Naomi couldn't bear the burden anymore, and so she confessed to everyone in the mansion that Bella was indeed her daughter. She revealed the secret to everyone, and being so overwhelmed with pain and much regret, Naomi developed a stroke which left her paralyzed. Everyone accepted Bella as her daughter, but Naomi was confined to a wheelchair for the rest of her life. She lived each day in regret, seeing her daughter and the scars she inflicted on her face. She wished that she had been nice to everyone and not wicked, but it was too late. She sat on the wheelchair day by day, watching everyone disrespect and ignore her. If she had been good to them, they would have been there for her now that she needed them the most. And if she had been nice to Bella, her dream of having a child of her own would have been fulfilled positively. The end. The moral of the story is that no one knows tomorrow. You may be a king today, and the next day you can be a slave. So treat everyone with love, including those far below you, because you never know what might happen tomorrow and who will become your savior.